Previously on Funny Science Fiction.
Did you aspire to that role on the Starship Enterprise because Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon was already taken?
No.
Welcome to the Funny Science Fiction podcast, where calling someone a nerf herder is a compliment.
So now we want to take a moment to officially welcome everyone, and most importantly, our guest of honor, Frank Duran. Thanks for coming on today, Frank. Glad to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent. We like that. All right. For those of you who don't know who Frank is, he's the host of the Warped Shelf podcast and the content strategist for the website Galaxy of Geek. So if you're into geeky stuff, you like, just go check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool jam. You'll like it. Now, in just a few moments here, we're going to delve into why Frank feels that Sega got the shaft in the game wars of the 1990s and has gone on such a hate campaign against all things Nintendo.
Woo, that's a tough one there.
Just kidding. Frank is a huge Nintendo gaming enthusiast, so that would be an unfair thing to him. But I
do love Sega, though. You can't fault the Sonic Hedgehog.
I was just gonna say Sonic. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say my only response to all my whole previous statement there is Altered Beast. Anyway.
Yes.
I was always Tails because I was the younger brother, so I always had to play Tails.
Oh yeah.
But I like Tails.
I can still hear the rings.
Yeah. As an older brother, I totally get that. You're just like, no, I am never being Tails. Never.
Yeah, right? I would never do such a thing like that. That's awful. No, thank you.
That's like using the Player 2 controller. I'm not doing that.
Nick, why did you punch Nathan in the eye? Well, he didn't want to play Tails.
Oh God, you had to bring it up.
Frank, since your podcast is named after an overloaded shelf, I have a silly question. Because of that, our listeners will need to know. Room, desk, or car, which do you clean first and why?
Which do I clean first? I just got a car for the first time in over 10 years. I live in Boston, and I have never needed a car, and I finally moved out of the city after what are we gonna call this? The plague. We'll just call it the plague. And
the black finger of death that has settled in over this year. Yes.
Yes. I finally moved out and I got a car and I've taken good care of it. But my shelves, on the other hand, do not get cleaned so much. And, desk is another story. I'm just all the time to the wife, like, don't touch that. That's very specific. No. I don't know what's going on, but I know where everything is.
I get that.
Well, and clearly from your podcast website, you're a huge fan of games, from the shelf behind you, comics, all sorts of sci-fi.
Yes.
Of course, each
That's
one takes...
why the site's called Galaxy of Geek.
You know what? That makes sense.
Baby.
There's an entire galaxy. Each universe has its own advantage. So, taking all sci-fi in consideration, which alien race would you want to be and why?
That's a tough one, but I want to say Skrulls right off the bat, because you can just be anything, like it's just like, you're like, oh, I want to be any of these superpowered heroes? I am now, right. I mean, it's cool to be a Vulcan, but it's not, you don't get much fun in, like you don't have a good time. And
that's true.
Good time constantly. So
no laughing.
That makes sense. Now, you also have a great opportunity to share any opinions you have on the podcast. What's something that's true that hardly anyone agrees with you on?
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a tough one for me because I have a lot of opinions that people don't agree on.
Right?
That's why I have a podcast, is that people all the time are like, Frank, I have to yell at you because you said Justice League, Batman vs. Superman wasn't that bad. And you're like, well, the complete edition is quite good, but it's just like no one's with that, I have a ton of opinions that people all the time. That's the reason to have a podcast, is to be like, hey, here's what I think. And people are like, how dare you? Here's a can, and throw it at you over the internet.
Right.
So the short answer is all of your opinions?
No,
Most of my
not
opinions.
all of my opinions. Definitely, that's definitely one of my things about my podcast is we like to keep it positive. We do not do
That's good.
negative reviews. We do not.
Like that.
If we do
That's good.
hate something, we'll bring it up, but it's not like the focus of a
Yeah.
podcast. Like we're not.
Right.
We're not going to get on there and trash things because that's half the internet anyway. So
Exactly.
for us, it's about
Attaboy.
talking about things that are great and bringing people
Mm,
great
There you go.
stories and
That's right.
recommending awesome things.
Yeah.
And I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm actually kind of interested now to hear what your opinion is on the Justice League. You brought it up. It's fair game.
Well, I mean, yeah, geez. So I mean, the Justice
Since you
League-
brought it up.
I brought it up. I said it, didn't I? I said the thing. So Justice League for me, it's a lot of there's a lot of good ideas, and you can tell
Yes.
the studio was like, here's my hand, and I put it in it, and I messed it all up. But you, there's something there, and I'm excited for the Zack Snyder cut. I'm not
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
guys tweeting every day, release the Snyder cut, release the Ayer cut. You know, I'm not one of those guys. I'm a big DC guy. This whole shelf, DC, you know, like
Yes.
I'm a big DC guy. So I have a soft spot for these things, but I definitely think the Justice League is fun for what it is, but if you're a long-term comic book fan, I always understand the pain. You're just like, why?
Yeah.
You know, like the whole movie, you could just be like, it's painful. But if you just take it with a popcorn aesthetic, you're like, hey, Superman's here, Wonder Woman's here, The Flash is here, Aquaman's here. It's a pretty good time. Like,
That's exactly right. It's like the reason I didn't hate them too is because my bar was so low. My expectations were not high by any means. You
I
go
always
watch
say,
Aquaman, you're not
enjoy.
like, you know what? This is going to be a revolutionary piece of film here that we're about to witness. No, my expectations are way down here. We set those a long time ago. I'm okay.
I definitely always say if you keep your expectations low, you'll always be surprised. And
Right?
my
Yeah.
expectations are really low.
My expectations shot to the bottom of the barrel after Batman and Robin when it came to DC. So.
Oh no.
Hey, Schumacher put nips on Batman. It's not my fault, okay?
Oh, no.
I
This is
mean,
true.
I'm a big Batman fan. I used to host a podcast called Real Books Don't Have Batman, where literally the title just means like, hey, books are great, but they don't got Batman in them. So we did that
Love
with my co-host Maud Karaika or Deshaun Vasquez. He's on the podcast Warp Shelf with me now, but we used to do that Batman podcast, and
That's funny.
we did a whole commentary on like a commentary track on Batman and Robin because there's just so much you can just hammer on and make fun of, and it's just so glorious the whole time. It's just Schumacher was in love with the Adam West, you know, and that's
Yes.
what gave us there, you know, like sure, it's not the Dark Knight, it's not even Tim Burton's, but it is definitely Neil Adams Batman, you know.
Right.
I will agree with you on this portion of the Justice League. I do think that with that movie, there was a lot of potential for it to be amazing. And
Yes.
it just the way that they interwove the stories needed a little gelling. You could definitely tell where Zack Snyder took off and where Joss Whedon came in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
it's-
you can feel it, like in your
Yeah.
gut.
It's like a cold air just kind of rushed through the room and changed your feeling about things.
But I feel
Yeah.
like you're right. The potential's there because we have movies like Shazam, Aquaman,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Right.
They're solid. Wonder Woman is one of the best superhero movies
Agreed.
done. You
I'm,
know,
good.
I'm
like,
excited for
Okay.
84.
yeah, I loved Aquaman because they were like, hey, we're gonna take your favorite Aquaman story that took over a year to tell, and we're gonna shove it into an hour and a half. It's not gonna
Right.
make any sense, but it's gonna, you know, like, and you're just like, cool. Is there the trench in this? They're like, you bet your bottom dollar it is. And you're like, all right, let's do it.
I have a question for you, Frank. There's something much worse than the film adaptations, and I have to say it's the WB TV show adaptations.
Ooh, I don't talk about those here. I as a guy who just said I try to be nice. I'm not. I don't talk.
No
about
comment.
the stuff
No
he
comment.
shows.
Speaking of the cold rush coming through the room.
If you
All
thought
right,
the
I have a
movies-
question for you.
All right, go fire away, Deb.
So we assume you got started young on video games.
Oh, yeah, real young. I was just talking the other day. We were talking about Sonic. Sonic was my first game I ever played. Went over to my aunt's house and they were like, "Shut up for 2 hours," and I was like, "Sick," you know, like it blew my mind. And I've been forever a gamer like that.
So
So
I know my boys played Pokemon forever. So was Pokemon one of your
yeah.
games that you played?
oh yes, I actually was playing competitive Pokemon with this past game. I am not good. I am not good, but I like to play in tournaments and try my mettle against 7-year-olds who can destroy me.
Kool-Aid, Mom, I'm kicking this guy's butt.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They're like, his Charizard's not strong enough. Like, I'm destroying him.
I want to play yellow Pokemon now.
Exactly. He's right here.
There you
I got
go.
him right there. And I'm definitely a big Pokemon guy. I definitely think they need to finally take the next step into just making the Pokemon MMO, just releasing it out into the fan base. Because if you play Pokemon Sword and Shield, it's half of the game, that the good part of the game, is an MMO. Basically, with your friends and you're fighting Pokemon, you go fight the giant Pokemon together. You're like, hey, that's a raid battle. That's, you know, that's World of Warcraft right there. And they might as well just release the next game. The Switch is powerful enough to make an MMO, and a Pokemon MMO is the next step. But they're afraid to do it because then they don't have to put out you know, another $60 game next year,
Right.
you know, with $30 DLC every time for 2 of them, you know, like, which, you know, I bought, but, but,
Right? Well,
Did you also play Pokemon Snap?
I already have
was
the
good.
new Pokemon Snap pre-ordered. I already got it
I
pre-ordered.
haven't-
That was a good game.
What game system is that coming out on?
It's so it's coming out on Switch. I got my Switch right here. I'm actually playing right now. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Have you guys seen this D&D game?
No.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. They use all the champions from Forgotten Realms and
Interesting.
the Forgotten Realms books. Like I'm gonna mispronounce his name, but Desert Duran.
Drizdo Erden.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I remember. I read all those.
Like that's the one thing everyone's gonna go to my podcast and hate is that I can't pronounce any names. There's
Number one,
nothing
how
here.
dare you?
Like, I can't do it. I just always hand it off to my co-host. I'm like, can you say this name, please?
Flip
You
it
can't
in.
say the names. We're not listening to him.
One more Pokemon question for you. Hey, did you play Pokemon Go?
Oh, yes, I did for a long time, and definitely really loved it. First night of Pokemon Go, I got on, I had a moped at the time. I got on the moped, I drove around, and I go to Independence Wharf, you know, where the Constitution is, the giant ship, because it was a Pokestop, and I start rushing towards the end, and I go by 2 cops, and they turn on the lights immediately, and and then I spend the next 20 minutes explaining what Pokemon Go is.
Oh,
the
no.
first night of its release,
Oops.
to 8 cops who were standing around me, trying to be like, yeah, there's a Squirtle right over there. I just
There's a squirrel over
Further.
there.
Like, I'm
That's
really
great.
sorry. I didn't mean to scare you guys. Like, because they just didn't know why anybody would be doing that at midnight. You know, like, I was just like
He's gonna attack the landmark.
yeah, right.
Can I get your friend code? And do you need a Mr. Mime?
Yeah. No, I don't play anymore. I wish I did, but it's one of those things that for my job I go to a place and I don't go anywhere. You know, like
Right.
I do production, so I go places.
And the legal
stay
the
there.
legal fees got too high, right?
Yeah.
Some Squirtles just
Right.
weren't worth the challenge. All right, so let's talk about all things that are good, holy and righteous in this world?
Ooh.
We are, of course, referring to Star Wars. All right. So you told us that you're a lifelong Star Wars fan.
Lifelong, yes.
Me too.
Absolutely.
All right. So every Star Wars fan that I've ever met has a favorite movie of the series. Now, I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's your favorite movie and why? And who's your favorite character?
I absolutely, it's Empire Strikes Back for me.
Such a good choice, by the way.
It's a masterpiece. It's a classic in its own right. It can be watched without watching any other Star Wars. If you just show your grandma this movie, she gets it. You know, like it's one of those things that it's so full of adventure, you almost don't realize you watched the whole thing. You know, like one of those great movies where you start it and it hits the end and you're like, did we finish it? Like, was that it? Is there more? Because I want more, you know, like, and
yeah.
I strictly, this is the opinion you guys aren't going to like. I strictly believe because that's the one movie that George Lucas had the littlest involvement with.
You're not wrong.
Now, I'm not a lifelong Star Wars fan because when I was born into a world without Star Wars.
Whoa.
It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I saw my first Star Wars at 17, so I mean,
oh, isn't that a Frank Sinatra song? When I was 17,
Yes.
Star Wars came out.
I saw.
I think he helped him write it. So, Hank, what's your favorite character?
Favorite character? It's got to be Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's the best in the series. He's it's a Skywalker story, but really, is it an Obi-Wan story? Like,
a little bit.
We're all here for Daddy Obi-Wan. You know, like, oh no,
Daddy Obi.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Yeah. Hello there just took on a whole new meaning. Hello there.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
I was saying earlier that I definitely have one of my opinions that everyone hates all the time is I do not think George Lucas is good for Star Wars, and I really do think that this was the smartest move to get George Lucas as far away from Star Wars as possible. But then, you know, you get things like The Mandalorian and Clone Wars because of that, you know, like you get him touching the tiniest bit, and that's what the magic happens because somebody goes, that's a good idea, George, let me do it instead of you.
Yeah.
Because
Like, he's good at the big picture, the really big picture.
Big picture.
All right. So with that thought in mind, and here's a movie that, as far as I know, George had nothing to do with. You also mentioned in conversation that you really enjoyed The Last Jedi. That's not a common thought among most Star Wars fans as of late.
Yeah.
So what was it about that film that, because you said number one was Empire, number 2 was Last Jedi. So I'm curious.
And then Rogue One. Yeah.
All right. So what about Last Jedi rung your bell? What did it for you?
I mean, it comes down to I went to film school. I do work in video production. I'm a big proponent of directors and auteurs and director doing what they want with a film. And I think Rian Johnson took Star Wars and did what he wanted with it, and that's
he did what he wanted.
He certainly did what he wanted. Whether or not it made sense.
Exactly. I love that movie. The only part I don't like is when they go to the casino planet. Otherwise, I think that's a tight movie, very tense, very exactly what the title is. It's Star Wars. It's literally they're fighting in the stars constantly the whole time. Like, you know, like, and it's literally like a war film for half of it. And then it like, and definitely number one, you have to agree with me. Even if you hate The Last Jedi has one of the best openings of any of the Star Wars films. Like, it's pretty epic.
You're right. The thing, I think by itself, it wouldn't have been so bad. When you put it in context of the 3, it's like, wait, what happened? We were going down this path, and Rian Johnson's like, you know what? That cliff looks fun. Let's jump off of that. Now let's go down this path. And then you can tell the director for the 3rd one's like, to do with this?
I think that's where it comes down to is that it's studio interference. You have the first movie where you have JJ directing, and JJ's like, oh, do I have questions? You know, like he's the question master. He comes on to Star Trek and he's like, can I ask you some questions? And everyone's like, yeah, sure. Those are some good questions. Do you have any answers? And he's like, no, not a single answer. And that's exactly what The Last Skywalker is them bringing back JJ. And he's like, they're like, those are some good questions. What are the answers? And he's like, I thought you guys were going to do this.
Like, that's why he only agreed to do the first one.
Exactly. And then they were like, we'll pay you $1 billion. And he was like, you got me.
So your hot take on Last Jedi is that half of it's a war movie and the other half is, come on, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
No. That's only 20 minutes. But I do think that it's what Luke Skywalker does is the most Jedi thing out there. You know, like that's what's most important about this is that Rian Johnson understands the Star Wars universe. JJ just came in and was like, here's some cool looking things. And Rian Johnson was like, I've been watching since I was a child, and here's my thoughts. And I think that he did the right thing to try to pivot into what could have been a more serious, cool, expanded, more diverse Star Wars universe. And JJ just comes back in and goes, I don't know. And Last Jedi happens, you know, like I think that if you look at what some of the storyboards for what could have been for The Last Jedi, and it was the other directors, you're like, oh, this could have been really cool and different. But then Disney comes in and goes, no, give me another one of give me Return of the Jedi right now. And they were like, okay, got it.
All
right.
I am still salty about the fact that we didn't jump into like what Timothy Zahn's vision was for like the Thrawn trilogy. I don't know if you ever read much of the Legends books.
Yeah, I like Thrawn because I've watched all Rebels. I think he's one of the best villains that was brought on to Star Wars. You know, like it definitely.
Yeah, like as soon as I heard the sequels were coming, I was like, oh, the Thrawn trilogy can happen. And then I'm like, wait, what is this going on here now?
And then Kathleen Kennedy turned into the soup Nazi and said, no Thrawn for you.
No Thrawn for you.
No Mara Jade.
Come back for Rebels.
That's right. All right, so let's talk about different movies. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, I do think we'll get better Star Wars out of all this. I think what
you're right.
We are missing here is that we couldn't have gotten Empire Strikes Back without what the mess of New Hope was before it was edited and saved by the editor, and you wouldn't get basically Revenge of the Sith if you didn't have all the problems of Attack of the Clones, which if we had to put a movie at the bottom of the list, everyone knows it's Attack of the Clones. It's
yep.
Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace somehow beats it out by like 2 seconds. But like, you know, like you're just like, oh, but Attack of the Clones has nothing. So you're just like,
yeah. Right.
Got lightsabers. It's got a purple lightsaber.
Oh wow, it's so pretty.
All right, so let's talk about another movie series. Now, you mentioned that you're a big fan of Batman on Warp Shelf. You spend 2 hours talking about just the movies of Christopher Nolan.
Oh yes.
So let's talk about
longest episode.
Yeah, let's talk about Nolan's take on The Dark Knight, the Batman himself. Yes. So what are some things that you like about Nolan's view of the Gotham Knight, and what would you like to see Nolan do differently? If you were his executive producer, able to go, hey, good idea, but
I think that the Nolan trilogy is something we'll never get again. We'll never get a director doing all 3 of the movies, putting them all out, having vision over them, and doing it. The Dark Knight is obviously the crowning jewel of all of it. It is a movie you can watch alone without seeing the other ones, and it's incredible. I mean, Heath Ledger alone is fantastic, but I mean, you got to give it to Christian Bale and my Alfred over there, because Michael Caine's the best.
Oh yeah.
And
Michael Keaton.
Yes.
and I really do think that this The Dark Knight is like The Empire Strikes Back, it is just a storm of good things happening all at once. Is that you have Christopher Nolan directing, one of the best directors alive. And then you have Heath Ledger, you have Christian Bale, who's now like in the role, you know? He did Batman Begins, he shook off the Bruce Wayne, and now he's Batman, baby. And then you get the Joker, you get Two-Face, you get so much from this movie. And it feels so. It's one of those movies that I saw 4 times in theaters, and still today, if you put it on, I'll watch it. You know, like there's no.
I still watch it regularly.
Yeah, but no Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
True.
I'm actually okay with that.
The part where he eats a bat. I mean, Catwoman eats a bird, and you're just like,
Batman,
hey,
baby, and I was like, hey, a baby Batman. That's
All right. So, would you want to see Christopher Nolan do any other superhero style movies, and which character would you think could use the Nolan touch?
Oh, the Nolan touch. Absolutely. I mean, you go right to Green Arrow. You're like, hey, fix, if you're able to fix Batman, you can fix Green Arrow. Just take it away from CW, please. It's basically like Nolan has this feel for a crime movie. Basically, that's the other thing about The Dark Knight. It's not just a superhero movie. Everyone knows that. It's a crime movie. It's a mob movie.
It's a gangland movie.
Yes, exactly. And that's where he excels. And if you bring in characters that deal with that more down to earth, I think Green Arrow could really excel from that. I don't think Christopher Nolan, as much as I love Interstellar, I don't think he should get like Green Lantern or something like that, you know, like
Don't make the suit CGI.
So kind of the Godfather meets the Dark Knight.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why I'm head over heels for that movie. I think that Batman Begins is great, and Dark Knight Rises is good. It's the return of king of that series, you know, like if it's the whole thing, you know, everyone battles on the ground, everyone's lives are in danger. Like, this is the return of the king is the only way I could say it. You know, like,
I like it. All right. So on your website there, you review all kinds of games across all platforms. And like I said earlier, you make no secret of the fact you're a Nintendo enthusiast. And we've talked about your affinity for Star Wars, and we've mentioned Star Trek as well. So one of the things that got me thinking was one of the articles I looked at on Galaxy the Geek. Now, in March of this year, at the beginning of all things that suck for 2020, you wrote an article about 10 games with long gameplay.
yes.
To get you through quarantine times. And so let's look back at that list a little bit. Let's revise it a little bit.
Yeah, I took these scores from a website called howtobeat.com, and it's a website where everyone agitates how long it took them to beat a certain game. So it takes an average of how long it took to beat these things. And basically my list here is, according to that site, what takes the longest to beat.
Okay. So what's your go-to game right now to get you through these times? And what do you watch when your poor little opposable thumbs need a break?
I have been playing a ton of Overwatch. It wasn't even on the list there. I found Overwatch. I know it's old, but I found Overwatch on Switch right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I fell head over heels with it not being just a shooter, a team game where if one person is not doing well, the whole team suffers, you know, like it is strictly everyone has to work together or nothing happens. And you got to
time your ults properly. You've got to, it's a very, very team heavy game.
It seems like it has some MOBA elements to it as well.
Yeah,
you know, in that way.
That's what it was originally done as, is that Blizzard put out this game. It's Overwatch. So you have all their MOBA games, and they basically were like, hey, what if we did a first person shooter MOBA? And that's what Overwatch is, because it's also about, it's not only about bam, 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 bam. It's about being like, okay, well, that's off cooldown. Let's launch that now. That's off cooldown. Let's launch that now. Same like a MOBA.
Right.
Great.
And I don't really play it anymore, but just all of our listeners, if you don't know, we will be releasing, or if we already have, we have interviewed the guy who plays Torbjorn.
What?
The voice
What?
actor. Yep.
Yeah.
Voice actor.
Yeah.
That's actually our next.
Torbjorn.
I have
that's
to
coming
follow
up.
Torbjorn himself? Oh my God. You guys got to tell me these things.
Hey, so Frank, what voice
I
acting
love
have you
Thor.
done? No, I'm just kidding.
I-
other than the cool voices you've done here for us. No,
I
you're doing
know,
great.
that's fine.
He just
You're
runs
doing-
away from his computer.
He's like, hey, would you look at the time?
I gotta go.
All right, well, let's change the subject up a little bit. I want to go to comics
We've made
because
him sad. That's probably a good idea.
yeah, while he's crying, well, he dries the tears. No, now, as a kid, I have to make an admission, I could never really get into superhero comics. I mean, I love movies, but I could never get into the comics. And to give you a clue, I read Mad Magazine, so that's where my head was. All right,
I
skip
love
it.
Mad Magazine.
All right, but I think funny.
fun.
I always like funny more than exciting.
Yes.
So now, if there's kids out there today who are being misled and reading humorous stuff instead of exciting stuff, what's a good crossover comic that'll take a funny comic reader into a superhero comic?
Oh, there's so many good ones. Because it's a crazy world where they are trying to. In comics, it's a genre. As I say with anime or comics, it's a genre. There's something for everyone. If you're into very serious comics, very serious life portrayals, of course, there's tons of those. And if you're looking for something that makes you laugh, I can't lead you anywhere else but Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor on Harley Quinn or any other books. They bring such a life to their comics, such a humor and such a wackiness. It feels like you're watching a cartoon. If you're watching the Harley Quinn show on DC Universe or now on HBO Max, you are basically watching their comic. They are adapting their stories, and if you thought that show was funny, go check that out if you're looking for funny stuff. But I also always recommend for a superhero in the Marvel Universe, I always recommend Hawkeye and his Matt Friction run. We are talking down to earth, like superhero stories. That's the down to earthest most superhero story happening.
Fair enough.
That's a good one. I forget about those ones.
Yeah, all right, now it's my turn to bash a little on Star Wars. Just I love Star Wars, but I still like to get under Tim's skin whenever possible. Now, Star Wars and Star Trek. We've lived to see the Star Trek communicator basically become reality.
Right.
All right, what technology in Star Wars has actually been developed that you're aware of? Any? Is there anything? I mean, if they
lasers, we got those. We got a hydrogen collider.
we had all those. We had all those in the 50s.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I'm a huge Star Trek guy. I've watched every bit of Star Trek. I couldn't get through Enterprise, but I've watched all of Star Trek.
Nathan was getting me on Enterprise here a little bit. I had a hard time.
You came over and you watched it. I was like, Dad, I'm watching Enterprise, and you're like, I don't know, and you're like, okay, these episodes. I come back down, you're still watching it.
Yeah, hey, get me hooked for an episode.
It's still Trek.
Yeah, we still got it, got stuff. All right, now this next part here, old guy. Now I understand you're a bat expert, and I'm an old guy, and I have a hard time understanding memes sometimes, so I need them explained to me. Now, I just recently saw a meme with Batman in a restaurant ordering Kung Pao chicken. Pow appears in the air. So, Batman was always famous for hitting people so hard, at least the one I watched when I was a kid, and I had the lunchbox, so I can prove this.
Yeah.
So, he always hit people so hard that it made words appear in the air. How come none of these fancy modern movie Batmans can do that?
So if you are a fan of onomatopoeias, which
you do, and you're going to clean it up, Frank.
Oh, whoa! Hey, watch the language. No.
Can you spell that, Frank?
Onomatopoeias are great, and there's a actual comic book by Kevin Smith, Batman Cacophony, I think it's called, that has a villain called Onomatopoeia.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's Kevin Smith, so it's funny. It's a funny book. It's Batman, and he there's an incident where he by an accident poops himself in the suit,
no.
and of course Kevin Smith deals with that in the very Kevin Smith way. But it's a very good book because Onomatopoeia uses the onomatopoeias against Batman in fights, and it's just visually.
That sounds hilarious.
cool.
Yeah.
Check that out.
And,
All right, Tim, it's time for the game.
All right, Frank, you ready for this? You buckled up?
All right, yeah, buckle in. Here we
Oh,
go.
it's trivia time.
Trivia time.
Buckle up for safety. All right, so in our trivia game, we're going to ask you 5 questions. If you are smart enough and fortunate enough to be able to answer 3 of these little bad boys, we're going to send you one of these.
Ooh.
It's the very highly coveted Red Shirt Widows and Orphans mug. All right, now, if you get all 5 of the questions right, our host and founder, Drayton Allen, is an author, and he's going to send you a signed copy of his book, Custodians of the Cosmos.
That's
which
a
is-
nice cover. Hey.
Like it? I did it myself.
Which is where the
It's a good book.
the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans originated.
Wow,
So-
that's awesome.
It's a
however-
parody. It's a parody of Star Trek type movies.
However, should you not be able to answer 3 of these, we're going to take your mug shot and make a meme out of it.
Oh no. Okay,
Do you
Let's do
agree?
this.
Do you
I
agree?
do
to
agree.
these
Punishment.
All right,
let's do it. Let's go. Gotta
fire
get
away,
these in.
Alan.
All right. First one, we're going to start with a retro game question.
Okay.
Okay, I grew up in.
Oh, I forgot
you know,
about this game.
If you're a knight flying around on an ostrich, what game would you be playing? It's one of my favorites. Are you playing Chucky Egg, Gauntlet, or Joust?
Joust.
Joust. All right.
Yeah.
Side
Nice.
quest. You got it.
I own Joust. I own it. It's in the other room. I got it.
My favorite part was the finger snap. He's like,
Yeah.
I got this.
So
I
side
didn't know it was
question.
multiple choice, so I was like,
Oh, yeah.
my God, what
Yeah, we're going easy on you. We can dump the multiple choice.
No,
if
no,
it's
no.
enough of
I
a-
think
No,
from here
no.
on out, we're good. We can take away the multiple choice.
Whoa.
Yeah, he sounds like he's pretty confident.
I agree. I think we should go really high. All right, side question. This
I
this
think
is
somebody.
points, but what company is developed Joust? Just since that was such a gimme.
Oh my goodness.
Remember? This doesn't
Um,
count.
Is it? It starts with an L, right? Is it LJ?
It has the L sound in it, but it's not.
Oh no, I don't remember.
It's
I don't.
Williams. Williams.
Williams.
Williams Electronics.
Yeah.
For the best in your video game adventures, please choose William Electronics.
Anyways, but that one didn't count. That one didn't count.
All right, fair enough. All right, so question number 2, or for our Spanish-speaking friends, número 2.
Dos.
All right, who made his directorial debut with the Star Trek Next Generation episode Rascals? Was it Jonathan Frakes? Was it Adam Nimoy? Or was it James Doohan?
Oh man, I want to say Frax. I'm going. Final answer, Frax.
Oh
No!
Sorry,
No.
It was an original
That was-
Nimoy.
that was not the logical answer.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough.
Adam Nimoy.
More chances.
I want you to know I've been saving that response for like it
Yeah.
since that
It's
question
not
came
a
up.
logical
I'm like,
answer.
Not
I'm putting that in my back pocket.
Adam Nimoy. Adam Nimoy, son of Leonard.
Oh man.
Some people may have heard of him.
Son
of Leonard
Nimoy.
Okay, so next question. Which regular cast member of Babylon 5 had a reoccurring role in Star Trek The Next Generation? Was it Bill Mumy, Andreas Katsoulas, or Peter Jurassic?
Peter Jurassic.
Oh,
Is that your final answer?
is that your final answer?
No, because of that noise. The first one.
Very
Was
good.
A. Let's do A.
Bill Mumy?
Yes.
Oh,
Do you want to-
the third guess.
Another
Slow
guess.
news day.
Andreas Casalis, who played Gakar on B5, also played Romulan Commander Tomalak on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I'm sorry, I'm not a Babylon 5 guy.
I
I
know.
wouldn't have got it either, Frank. I
wouldn't
would
have
not
got
have
it.
gotten that one.
Some of these are pretty tough.
I was like, oh, come on, I'm going through the credits of all the Star Trek episodes I've seen. I'm like,
The name's in there somewhere. I
they're
know it.
somewhere.
And Frank, if it helps you, I wouldn't have got it anyway. So
All right, so we'll stick with Trek. Which crew member figured out a way to use the transport through deflector shields? Which engineer? So 1, Miles O'Brien, 2, Reginald Barclay, or 3, Geordie LaForge.
And repeat what he did. He sent it
They
through the
figured
deflector-
out a way to use the transport through deflector shields.
Miles, because they're very violent. It's got to be Miles.
Yes, it's Miles
Good
O'Brien.
job.
You're
Yay!
right.
All of D Space Nine is like, should we use this technology this way? Who cares? Like, and they're just like,
All right,
Here's
final
your
question.
Final question. You ready?
all right. How many do I got now? Do I got 2? Only
Yeah.
2? Okay.
Yeah, this is the
All
kicker,
right.
man. This is the win or lose right here.
All right. This is
All
that.
right.
hold on, I'm getting my phone ready for the mugshot.
Tiebreaker here. Yeah, we need that mugshot ready. What character was promoted in rank the fastest in Star Trek history? Harry Kim, Wesley Crusher,
Not Harry Kim. That's
or Nog?
oh wait, who was the second one? Sorry, I heard no.
Harry Kim, Wesley Crusher, or Nog?
Oh my god. It's not Harry Kim because he's still an ensign. I want to say it's Wesley Crusher. Yeah, Wesley Crusher.
Oh,
Oh god, is it Nog?
It's too late, Mom.
Is it Nog?
It's Nog.
Nog.
I'm gonna need you to smile pretty now, Frank.
Oh,
you did a good job. Nog went from civilian to cadet to ensign to lieutenant junior grade in the space.
no. Right, and they're like, he's the fastest cadet that's ever risen. Oh my
Yep.
god, I remember that.
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
you knew it.
No, I knew it, but I didn't. Oh,
Well, Wesley Crusher was kind of thrown in there to throw you off because
well, he becomes a god. Does that count? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he's ensign, then a god.
Right.
you could contest the
Technically-
question, but I mean,
Technically, it's outside of the
Starfleet
the
structure.
ranking. of
Yeah.
the Star-
we'll give you half a point, so you end up with 2.5 points.
Universal rank.
See,
Yeah, partial credit.
just because you're a Star Wars fan, I would have given you 2 3/4. Them Trekkies, they're stingy.
We got another question that's outside of our trivia game.
Go for it.
So there's been a lot of Batman cartoons.
Yes.
Which one is your favorite, and why is it Batman Beyond?
Oh, yeah. I love Batman Beyond. I am head over heels for Batman Beyond. I love it. Can't wait till Michael Keaton plays old
Right?
Bruce Wayne. Like that's
Right.
gotta happen. That's gotta
That would be
happen.
so good.
That's gotta happen. But Batman the Animated Series is a masterpiece.
Yes, it was good.
Like it's one of those things that just it's stuck in my brain. I watched it at such a young age that I like sometimes I close my eyes and I see the Joker fish, like it's one of those things that the imagery in that show is so vibrant and scarring almost in a way because they never cared. Joker just killed people left and right in that show and they never cared. They were just like, no, welcome to Batman, guys. And you're just like, and it's definitely one of those things that has stuck with me my entire life and made me the Batman fan I am today. So I gotta say, Batman the Animated Series. But
The animated
Batman
series.
Beyond is kind of an extension of Batman the Animated Series. So
Yes.
yeah, I'll let it go.
Well, awesome.
I just liked watching old man Wayne going to town with people with that cane.
I know, right?
Oh, right, because he's like, he's back in it.
His
I
back
would
and knees are
love
shot, and he just whoops people with that cane, boy.
the only other like Batman movie that I personally would just love to see is a really good adaptation of Beyond.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's got to happen at some point. I think it, as I always say with DC, they leave a lot of money on the table.
There's a lot there.
So much to do. You're just
Right.
like, hey, could we do a Batman Beyond movie? And they're like, no, we don't like money. So you're just like, you're like,
We just
why?
need Christopher
CW.
Nolan and Batman Beyond to take that.
Hey,
it's
CW,
not
here's
even
some of our
Nolan.
characters. See what you can do with these. Here's
Yes, whatever it is,
Bro.
do not hand it to the CW.
It's like with the CW, it's like, so, okay, we got tons and tons of DC teams. We have the Justice Society, Justice League of America. What team do you guys want? We're going to make one up called the Legends of Tomorrow. You're like, what? Huh?
Wait.
What? Like,
Why are we
you know how
writing
many
new
teams
stuff?
we got? Like, so many.
and you're leaving out Lego Batman,
Oh,
Right?
it's almost my favorite Batman movie.
right?
You know,
He
like,
really
it's so funny. It
was
hits
better
me.
than it deserved to be.
It is.
Ever since you said Batman baby, I'm like, my mind's going Batman babies, like Muppet babies, and I'm going nuts. Like, we need a Muppet.
That's it.
That's
Batman
right. We need a
as-
Muppet
as-
DC
as baby.
crossover. It's going to be
Oh,
the
man.
next big thing.
Yeah.
Batman baby. We got baby Yoda right now, baby.
Not if there's a
Yeah.
money potential to it. DC will probably say no.
Right?
All right. Well, Frank, you've been a really good sport putting up with us today, and we'll probably send you a mug anyways, just because
Oh, thank you.
we want to promote the red
I
shirt.
can't wait to see the meme we do with this.
I know. This
Oh, no.
But
Yeah, that's going to be a thing. I took like 12 pictures. It's going to be fun.
there you go.
right?
Well, hopefully we've inspired even some of our listeners to create something fun because of our podcast. And if they do create something fun or been inspired, please tell us about it in a comment on the podcast or a comment in our Facebook group, which you really need to join, Frank.
Absolutely.
Get into our
I
Facebook
don't
group.
know
We
how,
have a
but
blast
we need to do
there.
that
Yeah,
right
and
after this.
so
I'll message you the information there.
yeah.
Absolutely.
also we want you to tell us about what's new and upcoming for Frank, and where do you suggest people go to make sure that they get the best content.
So as you can see below my name here, I don't know if you can. I am Frank Duran at Yep Frank. I'm everywhere. Yep Frank.
Okay.
Twitter, YouTube, everything. Yep Frank. Everything you could think of. You absolutely should check out my show, The Warp Shelf. We do every week we do a deep dive into a topic. Sometimes they're pretty long, but we like them long, and we try to be very positive on there. So check it out. The Warp
Perfect.
Shelf on every podcast platform you could think of. We have our second video episode. You guys are doing video episodes. We haven't started doing them yet, except for last week, and our next week will be our second video episode of
Nice.
our podcast. So you can check
Awesome.
it
All
out
right.
on our YouTube page. And
Well,
everything.
And just a little, just to make sure everybody gets that, because when I listened to your podcast, I was trying to pick up on your it's at UP, Frank.
Yes.
YUP. YUP.
Yup.
Why do you?
YUP, Frank.
Yep.
YUP.
Not yep. Yup.
Yup.
Yep.
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 YUP.
Yep.
So remember that.
All right, cool.
You got
Well, we'll
it.
make sure that we put links to all that in the video description
Thank
here
you.
for everybody to be able to find you and find your podcast. He's got some great content, guys. Make sure you check out all of his most recent content, sure, but do some deep dives on the website. There's some really cool articles on there. If you're into
Thank you.
movies, if you're into gaming, if you're into all that stuff, I found the gaming articles pretty entertaining myself.
Thank you so much. GalaxyGeek.com.
Yes,
That's,
Galaxy of Geek. Make sure you stop by there. And remember, guys, this fall, 100% of all profits from the Red Shirts, Widows, and Orphans merchandise is going to go to that very real charity, Wish Upon a Teen. All right, Frank, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good
Wow,
job, man. You're
Thank you.
fun.
This is so nice. This
That
was
was
great,
awesome.
guys. I haven't done trivia like that in a long time, so that was good.
Well, before we get started, it would be disastrous if we failed to mention our charity, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund. Speaking of disasters, someday red-shirted Starship crew members will probably die after they unwittingly dock their shuttle with the abandoned space station at Hadara, where their bodies will be taken over and slowly absorbed over 100 years by a Zenovian feed-prey hologram, leaving their poor families destitute.
But we don't want to see that happen. So our fictional charity is now connected to a very real charity. Your purchase of Red Shirt, Widows, and Orphans merchandise allows us, the Funny Science Fiction Group, to donate 100% of all profits for sold merchandise to the awesome folks over at Wish Upon a Teen. They're doing great stuff for kids who have to stay in the hospitals for extended stays. Let's not forget about our neighbors in this time of need. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @funnysci-fi, or you can go to draytonallen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.